Throw first.
See a cricket ball, give me a bat, I'll whack it out the park. That's the kind of cricketer Buna was. Well, Damo really has started 2024 immensely well. Great numbers, a good UK Open, could have been a little bit better, he would probably admit. However, he's got so much energy at this point and so much belief, and he's always making small strides in the right direction as each season goes on. He's a brilliant darting product at the minute. He's entertaining, he is vastly talented. And if you look at his seasonal numbers already, 97.72, he's one of the form players in the world.
Yeah, 3 titles since last June alone, taking his career tally to 8 PDC titles. There was that World Series event as well in Brisbane in 2019. And of course he had that success at Players' Championship 4 fairly recently as well. So yeah, all in all, he's in great nick. I mean, some of the numbers, look particularly at that Players' Championship 4, his highest average was 103.37, but that was in the final against Dobie. So talk about timing. And he's averaged, what, 97.5 over 14 matches this year on the Pro Tour. So clearly, I mean, apart from Gary Anderson, maybe 1 or 2 others, Heta is right up there.
When someone makes a sign like that from scratch, that's probably taken him a good 90 minutes to make that. I think he deserves a set of flights from Damo. It's just a question of whether he sees, but he might be willing to let them go if he wins this game. He might be a bit perturbed if he has to lose the stage. Leave the stage, not lose the stage.
Dolan's first 2 darts have been high on a couple of occasions already. That was another example. That's something he's going to have to sort out sooner rather than later. Maybe infectious, actually, because that was one of the problems that Steven Strobber had yesterday. He was very high. I mean, it was almost like he thought it was a double start yesterday. He was so high with his opening darts in the early legs of that match.
There's that ideal first one with that classic Dolan lean to the left and the angle of attack. That's his best visit so far. Does he get a look at 47 though? Well, 18 twice. And it couldn't be better than that. And that's why the second one went in. When you're in form, you're more likely to do things like that to start a match off in fabulous style. Everywhere you look at the minute, when Damon plays Brendan Dolan, at this point in time, everything looks rosy for Damo. At the start of his career, he, like a lot of other people, didn't like playing Brendan. It had nothing to do with pace. It had everything to do with the fact that Brendan is brilliant. However, after their first 3 meetings, which Brendan had won all of them, Damon's figured it out. He's won their last 4, and that includes 3 meetings on stages. 1 on the European Tour in Risa, 1 at the Match Play, 1 at Minehead. Damon has won them all.
58.
Yeah, and I think that's fairly relevant as well. I mean, it's certainly one of those elements that you look at. You know, you look at particular parts of the world as well. I was just thinking about Heta's first ever European Tour appearance. That was in Belgium as well, albeit at Hasselt in early 2020. Opened up with a 6-0 win against Michael Barnard on that occasion. Averaged 102 for good measure. He was 6 out of 10 on his doubles. It was, I think, one of the most impressive European Tour debuts that we've seen this decade. Now, you can question the calibre of the opposition, but still, that was a significant announcement from Heta, I thought.
Do you know what, Rob? I think you're right. You say that statement now, that it was one of the most impressive debuts on the European Tour this decade. In the early part of 2024, got a great sample size. But if you'd have said that at the time, your sample size was that tournament.
Yeah. But I think it stood up well. Anyway, double 12 here for Dolan, with Heta waiting for a chance on 167.
It's a chance. Well, these are hit about 2% of the time.
Can't quite join the 2% club on this occasion. But this is potentially awkward for Brendan Dolan. This double 6, maybe double 3 combination.
Lights in the way now. Nothing in the way of threes.
9.
Now this is a chance for Damon. An unlikely break effort for 2-0.
Double 14, nudges the wire with the first attempt. Just inside the wire with the second. Double 7.
14.
And a let off for Brendan Dolan, who will only get 2 darts at double 1.
3.
Ideally, he wants this single to be in the left half of the single. Not there.
Oh my goodness me, he's busted his score with his first dart. He's hit the double.
14.
And Damon Heta has been given the most unlikely let off here. Double 7 for Heta, not easy. He's missed it twice now. He's missed it 3 times.
Pick your spot. Bottom left.
No score.
Horrible double 7. Treacherous.
3.
Well, Dolan started yesterday, I mentioned, with that 26 darter against Strobber. It might be something similar this time around as well.
No score. Damon, you require 14.
There you go, 24 of them. Well, I say 24, it's a lot less than 24 have been thrown.
Yeah, he split it for double 2. And it pays dividends. An intelligent piece of decision-making there by Damon Heta. He was happy to take a chance on double 2. Could so easily have ended up in the madhouse himself. But that's where Dolan, well, that's where he was brought down.
81.
You might wonder, how does it feel to be Brendan Dolan at the end of leg 2 there? It's the equivalent of somebody putting salt in your coffee instead of sugar. It's not very nice.
140.
However, you mentioned Players' Championship 4, Rob. If there are omens in darts, they don't come any better than this, really. Damon beat Brendan Dolan en route to that title in the quarterfinals. Beat him by 6 legs to 3. And he would happily take that scoreline again today to set up a game with either a Tysky or Littler. And that one tonight, it's going to be loud in here again for that one.
I've also got to say as well, Dolan looks to be struggling with his body temperature right now as well. I don't know whether he's under the weather, but he's sweating quite a lot. I mean, it is warm on stage, but I don't think it's that warm. Heta looks to be managing okay, but Dolan looks a little bit uncomfortable. We saw Berry Van Peer seem to be under the weather as well in the previous match. I just wonder if there's something going around. Dolan doesn't look 100%.
What I will say is that I have been backstage a few times over the last couple of days. The practice conditions are as close to perfect as you could ask for. There is a relaxation area for the players as well. If they're post-match, they're allowed to stay around for another hour. Whereas pre-match, if you just want to have half an hour to chill, the title sponsors here have done a brilliant job of making the practice area as comfortable as possible. The players love it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. It's very roomy, very spacious. Now, is there space here for a Shanghai? Well, he's found a way through into the top corner. Can't find tops for the Shanghai finish. Dolan now looking at 116, having made a real hash of his attempts at double 6, double 3 and double 1 in the previous leg. Won't want to hang around too much longer. Treble 19 would have left tops.
56. Damon, you require 40.
Surely Heta. No messing around. 16 darter. That's his best leg of the match so far, but he knows he's capable of higher standards than that, but so far it's enough and it will do. 58 darts required to get his 3 legs on the scoreboard. That is why he's averaging only 77. Well, both players averaging the same, 77 or so. But it's Heta who's got 3 legs on the scoreboard.
Yeah, quite reminiscent of what we saw from Ross Smith in game 2, which he lost to Jermaine Watermina, who was very, very impressive. But performance of the day so far, that definitely goes to Johnny Clayton.
Yeah, he was on the verge of going 3-0 down in that one. It was a missed start at double 11 from Van Peer. Could have been a very different match after that, but Clayton was able to come through and his finishing was strong, and Dolan has just rattled in a 180 for good measure just to keep himself going in this one. But Damon Heta has come right back at him straight away. That must be a sickener for Brendan Dolan. Just when it looks as though he might be making a move, Heta gets back into pole position once again.
It's amazing how many times that happens. Brendan actually spent a bit of time in Australia at the start of the year, did some exhibitions out there and took his wife out there for a bit of a break.
Nice.
I know he enjoyed it. He's hanging around with some of my old pals down there. And they loved him. Of course they would. He's Brendan Dolan. One of the nicest guys on tour.
Yeah, nice way to, I suppose, belatedly celebrate his 50th birthday. He was 50 last August, so it might have been a
98.
one to tick off for him. A little bucket list trip to go out there to celebrate his personal milestone. Single 19 for bullseye.
For a second there, he thought that was the treble. Glad he checked.
79.
Single 3 to leave 47, however.
40.
Well, these are the opportunities that Dolan just simply cannot afford to pass up. He's got 3 darts at tops. He only needs 1. And that's the best leg of the match so far. Statistically, a 13 darter from Brendan Dolan. It's only a hold of throw, but it will do in terms of just getting himself on the scoreboard and seeing where it'll take him.
57.
Sometimes it's really weird how this sport works, and I'm sure it's the same in tennis or other sports where you could prospectively play a certain player many times over the course of a career. But after 3 games, Damon was sick of the sight of Brendan. Now Brendan is sick of the sight of Damon. It just doesn't feel as if Brendan's got the confidence against Damo to get the job done. And this is a horrible time to play him as well. He always seems to start seasons with impressive stuff.
Yeah, and he's a player now who, you go into any TD major and he is a serious part of the conversation. He's really starting to make an impression at the big ranking events, the majors. You know, you look at the World Match Play quarter-finalist there, could have easily been a different story. Quarter-final at the Grand Slam, Players' Championship finals, the Masters this year as well. Vandenberg, of course, did for him in the semis last week at the UK Open.
Some players, when you have a decent amount of seasons to judge them on, they become
80.
tremendous starters. Ryan Searle, for the last 4 years, has been one of the premier starters on the tour. Damon's a bit like that. Mark Dudbridge used to be like that. Colin Osborne and Dennis Ovens were definitely like that. If you can have that good start, it sets up your entire season.
423. Then you require 64.
Still not down to a finish. Heta has all the time in the world with this one. Double 8s. Double 4.
56.
Very well thrown, just not in the target. But he will return.
59. Then you require 8.
Yeah, you mentioned Ryan Searle. He's on the way next against Richard Veenstra, who was the man who did for Nathan Aspinall yesterday, as Heta re-establishes that 3-leg lead. Double 4, no bother this time. 16 darter.
There was a Belgian that got rid of Damon Heta last week in Minehead. His good pals in Dimitri Vandenberg. Heta might actually be very grateful that Dimitri is not in this tournament coming into day 2, because he was done by Bunting last night in what was a great spectacle, a somewhat drawn-out affair.
Yeah, Bunting's habit of winning last leg deciders on the European Tour not continues, it extends that astonishing record that he's got. I think it's 11 out of 11 now, or 11 of his last 11 leg matches, if you like, have gone his way.
You don't want to go to a last leg decider, but if you keep winning them, you think, well, why not? At which point do we start talking about
sports psychology as well?
MVG's record of last leg deciders on the European Tour. We went on about that for about a year, around 2018, 2019. But that was the sports psychology Olympics last night between Dimitri and Stephen.
We touched upon that in commentary yesterday. You know, the fact that Bunting has been very open about the fact that he's been speaking to a sports psychologist over the past, year or so.
421.
And you look at facts like that, and I think, you can't ignore what's being said and what's being done on the stage as well, because it's not a coincidence, put it that way.
97.
That's why Steve Peters has made so much money over the last 10 years. Look at the people he's looked after in football, like Jordan Pickford and
Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, yeah.
100. And then you require 150.
Well,
the monkey paradox.
You read it? You read it before?
I've delved into it here and there.
Hang on a minute.
Oh.
Brendan Dolan. You've got a bullseye in the top corner. If it had been top left, he might have gone for it,
Whitlock would have. Heta tops 5-1 and another break of throw. Sorry, double 10.
35. Brendan, you require 60.
Come on then, Brendan. Bull double 5. Only joking. He's going to go 20 for tops, of course. And he loves that. That marker is perfect. Had he gone to the right-hand side of the barrel, see how those darts kick over? He can try and caress it through on the right side of the barrel, but the left-hand side closes it off.
Double 2 again. He's found this already today, and he's found it once again. And Damon Heta is closing in on his place in the last 16. I've got to say, this match it's been quite absorbing, but it's been played out against a backdrop of relative calm and quiet. The crowd are just happy to soak this one up and just sit back. There's been good moments in this, certainly. Nothing, I think, without being disrespectful, nothing spectacular or off the scale, but it's been solid enough at times from Heta in particular. Brendan, apart from the 13th darter, has really struggled to get involved in this. Lost the first 3 legs and looked out of sorts from that moment on.
The thing that proves your point is that Damon's best leg in this contest is 16 darts. How many games could he possibly lose at this level against other opponents in this draw, maybe at different times?
Yeah.
Quite a lot. But at this moment in time right now, in this half-an-hour window, this level is good enough against the opponent he is playing. That's darts.
85.
He doesn't have to put in 110 average to beat Andreas Harrison yesterday. He's got to beat Brendan Dolan now, and he's doing so.
Yeah, there's no harm in
140.
warming into a tournament and keeping a little bit in reserve as well. Dolan will have a look at this 1-2-1, although if he doesn't take it out, it could well be curtains, because Heta's left himself 42, and this is to effectively keep himself in the match. Brendan Dolan, time is running out, needs this. Gets the treble 17, gets the single 20 to leave the bullseye, and having taken out the dead cat bullseye before, can't find it when he needed it.
That might be that. Double 16.
Game shot.
At a canter, Damon Heta wins again against